Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. Now, before I go into the summary and analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so the channel can continue to grow. All right, A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. Very interesting work here. Lots of things are happening within this work. Um, Basically, in this work, Virginia Woolf is talking about women in literature. Especially at the time period that this work was being written, women weren't heavily represented in literature. I mean, most great works that you read today, and even back then, it's male authors. All the great authors in history, it's male authors. It's male dominated. And Virginia Woolf here, what she's saying within this work is that women need financial support, and they need a space, a free space where they can think freely, and write works of literature. They need money, because if you're going to write a novel, and many authors do this, if you're going to write a book, you're going to write a short story, poetry, you need space. You need a free space, and you need money, because if you're writing a work of literature that's going to last, 100 years, 300 years, 1,000 years, or something that's a timeless piece, you need time to think. You need time to create dialogues and character development, and there's so many things you have to think about when you're a writer, and you need space. And a lot of the writers that are authors, and they do that today. They do that back then, where they can go into these rooms, they can lock themselves in and get locked in, and write and create stories that are timeless. A lot of the great movies we have today, because everybody loves movies, they come from great writers, great authors that have that space to lock themselves into a room or find some free space where they can work without judgment, not thinking about problems and things like that, and not thinking about money, and they can create works of literature. Now, A Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf is not just talking about women getting into literature. She's talking about women in general in terms of how women are represented in society when it comes to literature. But I feel like she's touching upon opportunities for women, especially at the time period that this was being written in. She's talking about opportunities for women, how women don't have that many opportunities to express their talents, express their abilities. Um, you know, uh, the work where she talks about, if Shakespeare had had a sister, would she have? And let's say, okay, so there's this hypothetical, right? Let's say Shakespeare had a sister. This is an idea from Virginia Woolf, from one of her works. If Shakespeare had had a sister, and the sister was, as smart, as brilliant as Shakespeare, and she could write works like Shakespeare, would she had the same opportunities, or would she probably had on go and gotten married, or if she got pregnant, how would her life become? Would she be like Shakespeare, or would her talents be lost? Now, in terms of analysis of everything that's being said within this work, I have to say, you know, in the course of history, if you think about all the men, the Einsteins, the geniuses, and all the men that have, that are world renowned, that are famous for their works and for things that they have invented, you can think that there's lots of women that have existed that were equally as smart, but because of lack of opportunity, because of lack of education, because of societal standards, they never got a chance to explore those talents. So she's talking about that. Like, if we really think about it, if we think deeply about this, that's what she's getting at here. She's saying, like, there's lots of women that have existed throughout the course of time. They never got an opportunity to develop their skills, their creative skills. They didn't have the finances, the money. Because in society all across the world, for women, it was like, you got married, you had kids, and that was life, child rearing and whatnot. And so she's saying, in order for women to explore their talents, that's what they need. They need financial support. They need a space. to develop their skills and to write. It's a call to action at the end of the day. Virginia Woolf here is telling us, women need to write. Women need to explore their talents. Women need, this is what they need to do it. This is how society has kept them down. And to this day, I think a lot of women do face a lot of struggles, with exploring their talents and things like that. Um, because I mean, in society, there are things that are expected uh, of women. I mean, most places on the planet, because of poverty, because of lack of resources, because of, I mean, certain countries on the planet, women still can't go to school, and people are just worried about money. I mean, there's lots of geniuses out there that will never, develop their skills because, well, things are expensive and life is expensive, and if the geniuses of the world, the women of the world who are geniuses, had the money and the space and the time to write works of literature, to invent, to explore creative avenues, we would have lots of things that we've never imagined in this world. But there's several things Virginia Woolf is attacking here. Finances, space, and societal standards. Ultimately, she's saying, if women get these things, we will see great works of literature from them, and literature wouldn't just be such a male-dominated field. So it is a call to action. It does touch upon these societal points, and it leaves us thinking. In terms of deeper meaning, it does definitely leaves us thinking how history has been unfair to women, because you were expected to stay at home, cook, clean, do all these things. Um, you know, Opportunities should be granted to everyone, especially nowadays. I think opportunities should be granted to everyone, especially women. But there are still some societal pressures that challenge women creativity. And Virginia Woolf definitely within this work, she's challenging that, and she's saying, women, we need to overcome this, and do better. That's all I have to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey Google.